Alright, welcome to this episode of the podcast. Here with me are some of the jurors from the recent trial that was wrapped up, Jurymen 4 and 8. We're all happy to have you here. Happy to be here. I'd just like to say, gentlemen, that this case and your jury's verdict in particular have stirred up a lot of commotion in recent days. Most people would have considered this an open and shut guilty verdict, but you determined otherwise. Why? Well, we took a closer look at some of the inconsistencies in the different testimonies and found a good amount of reasonable doubt. Would you say this was a fair and just ruling? Oh, absolutely. The jury was quite on board with the final verdict. There was more than enough doubt to say that the kid was innocent. Do you feel that all the jurors were truly convinced on this ruling? Well, I myself was one of the most reluctant to change our initial opinion. There were three of us, me as well as jurors 3 and 10. 10 came around in the end, but I don't feel like 3 ever really believed that the kid was innocent. He seemed to give in to our ruling in the end, but I think only due to how sure the rest of us were. Interesting. You mentioned changing opinions. Did everyone agree with the innocent ruling in the beginning? No, actually I was the only one who did. I don't mean to brag, but none of the other jurors thought there was any sense in exploring the kid's possible innocence. I'm pretty sure some of them just wanted the whole matter to be over and only looked at the accused as a task instead of an actual person. You changed their minds, I see. Yes, only 1 or 2 changed their vote at first. I believe it was 9 and 5, but more got on board as I explained some more of the discrepancies in the case. Yeah, Juror 10 and I changed our vote in the end, when 8 made a comment about the lady across the road's testament. He made the point that with her glasses she would have had a hard time seeing the crime clearly, especially when looking at it through a passing train window. Even 10, who seemed to hold some personal bias, couldn't deny all the little discrepancies that had stacked up. So you would say the glasses were the strongest point. Yes, this added to the other sources of doubt was the final straw. Reasonable doubt was there. Interesting. Coincidentally, we actually brought down the woman to talk about her verdict and the testimony. By all means, bring her in. Alright, will someone please call her in? Thank you for being here. I know you've had a busy week, what with the trial and all. I appreciate you calling me in. I think most people don't understand the final ruling. I saw the murder, and I figured that would be enough to get him called guilty. I know what I saw, and I was especially confused with your innocent calling. It isn't personal, it's just that there was far too much reasonable doubt in numerous cases. Would you mind naming some specifics? Yes, I think that would be good for all the listeners, as well as me. A lot of people are curious to know what really went on in there, and are confused about the final ruling. It is very strange, because we all thought he was guilty. Well, some of the first evidence I put forth was the knife, which was originally thought to be rare and unique to the kid. It wasn't? No, I bought an identical one at a store a little down the road. Strange. What else? The next source of reasonable doubt was the testimony of the old man. We picked it apart and found that the time frame he presented was completely off by over 20 seconds. He said it took him 15 seconds to get to the door, and we calculated over twice that. Was this about when people started to change their votes? Yes, Juror 9, I think, agreed with me, basically from the start, and Juror 5, I think, was trying to get back at the others for some bias they had. He said he grew up in the slums, and he seemed quite offended when they started accusing the kid of being bad solely for his upbringing. Were those the only sources of doubt? No. Juror 5 and his background came in handy once again when we determined that the angle of the stab and the kid's experience with knife fighting didn't match. It appeared like there was a lot of reason to say he couldn't have done it. But what about the evidence against him? His alibi was practically non-existent. It really looked like he didn't even care about his plea. True, but our job wasn't to find out the specifics, just if enough doubt was present to name him innocent. A man's life was in our hands, and we all, for the most part, felt as though enough doubt was there. The old man's testimony with the mismatching times and other holes, such as the dark hallway and steep stairs and things like that, and this woman's, which became less solid when we remembered she wore glasses, gave us all a feeling that maybe the kid didn't really do it. We don't know who did, but that wasn't our job. Our job was to see that the right judgment was passed, and I believe that any other competent jury would have passed the same verdict. Do you share the same thoughts, Juror 4? I do. Our jury was composed of many different people, but in the end, we all made the just call. Alright, thank you for being here.